the biggest thing to keep in mind here is don't be too attached to your original ideas. You've written that first draft, but now it's time to go through it. Give yourself constructive feedback, or if you have somebody helping you with the editing process, listen to their constructive feedback. They're there, they want to make your essay better. Be open to changing what you've originally written, because people usually have good ideas when they're giving you feedback and they want you to write a better essay. That's the whole purpose of giving you the feedback. As you're going through this process, the first question is always to worry about the content. So you need to know what content is in this essay. Does it match the prompt? That's always the first question to answer. And so people will look at that and decide, or as you're editing, look at that and decide, does what I've written match the areas that I highlighted in the prompt? This third point is the part where you can start playing around with the flow of the story a little bit more. You want to make sure that it's told most effectively. For most students, that means not ending with the conclusion. Don't start an essay by talking about how you won a contest, because that sort of takes the impact out of the whole essay, because you know from the first paragraph that you won, and so why are we reading the rest of this essay when we already know that you won this contest or won this award? So ask yourself questions like that when you're editing and reading through, because you want to make sure that you haven't done something that reduces the impact of the essay. Especially with essays that have really tight word count, the next thing to keep in mind is whether every sentence that you're writing is actually contributing to the main point. Oftentimes, a mistake that I will see is that students will write sentences and then the next sentence will have exactly the same information, just written in a different order. Keep an eye out for that. Don't do that to yourself. You want each sentence to contain new information that is supporting your thesis, whatever the thesis is for that particular essay. Another thing that students often do is you want to make sure that the story is personal to you. If you can imagine your best friend or another classmate writing the same story or saying the same things, then you need to include something more about yourself in this essay. You need to include details and reactions that make it about you and clear that it's about your perspective and not something that somebody else could just as easily say. This last point is often something that is easier for other people to help out with. But if there is a confusing area, if somebody's like, hey, I'm not sure what's going on here, you just have to rewrite it. You don't know if the admissions officer is going to be able to understand what you're saying in that case. You can't guarantee that they're going to know, especially if somebody else finds it confusing. So the last thing, or the thing that is always true, is that if you get somebody saying, oh, I'm not sure what's going on here, you have to rewrite that section, because just because you as the author understand it the way you wrote it does not mean that an admissions officer necessarily will.